I can start out again, Chief Carroll from MPD. So both of the individuals, the Guard members, they are in critical condition in a local hospital at this time being treated. At this point, we have no other suspects. We have reviewed video from the area. It appears, like I said, to be a lone gunman that raised the firearm and ambushed these members of the National Guard, and he was quickly taken into custody by other National Guard members and law enforcement members.
Any sense of motive?
No, at this time, obviously, we're very in the preliminary stages of investigation. There's a lot of things, a lot of agents that are here from various federal agencies, law enforcement agencies. We have the full power of the FBI and our federal partners here in the task force. So we're looking at all those different aspects, but we don't have any motive. The National Guardsmen that were shot, I'm told they were armed.
Did they get off shots?
At this time, that's part of the preliminary investigation.
Can you explain how the suspect was apprehended?
Chief.
Sure. So how the suspect was apprehended, as I said, the individual, the suspect came around the corner. He immediately started firing a firearm at the two National Guard members. So at that time, there were other National Guard members that were in the area. They heard the gunfire. They actually were able to intervene and to kind of hold down the suspect after he had been shot on the ground until law enforcement got there within moments.
And he was shot by a National Guardsman?
At this point, we're still investigating exactly who shot the individual. It's not clear at this time.
Were there DC policemen in the area?
We don't know what kind of weapon. There was D.C. police. It happened right in front of the Metro, although there is no indication that the perpetrator was on the Metro. So there's Metro Transit Police in the area, and obviously being on 17th Street by the White House, Uniform Division Secret Service were in the immediate area as well.
What kind of weapon the alleged perpetrator used?
We do not know at this time. It's still in investigation.
We're going to be able to take a couple more.
Has been able to question the suspect, or is his condition so severe that you haven't been able to have a conversation?
Sure. Again, so as I said, we're very preliminary in the investigation, so we're looking to all aspects of who the individual is, his connections. At this time, he's still in the hospital receiving treatment.
And I would just like to add, the reason that this suspect is in custody is because of the bravery of the men and women of the National Guard who responded due to their extensive training to secure American lives today. There was not any further injury and any further shootings. We should highlight the fact that the men and women of law enforcement, the interagency, the Department of War, and the National Guard executed their training with great precision today and prevented an even greater tragedy from befalling us. These National Guardsmen are heroes, and we must pray for their safety and their speedy recovery. And as the chief said, we are in the preliminary stages of this investigation. We will run down every single lead, every piece of evidence. This is the power of the U.S. government at its best at the state, local, and federal level. That is why this interagency group is standing behind us to assure America and the world that we will continue to keep D.C. safe. And thankfully, we have Metropolitan Police Department, the National Guardsmen, and federal agents, and the Department of Justice and Attorney General willing to prosecute the mission to keep Americans safe. And President Trump has rightly stated that this heinous act will be investigated, and he has thanked the National Guardsmen and women and the men and women of law enforcement.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all as you watch this broadcast. It's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett.
Good evening.
And Shelly E.
Hi. Gobble, gobble.
Yes, indeed. Well, folks, we're diving headfirst into a horrific act of violence right in the heart of our nation's capital that exposes the dangerous consequences of left-wing hysteria. Before we light this fire, do your part, tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. We're live on YouTube and Rumble. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat, whether it's you're happy about what you're hearing or you're not. We shout you all out. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. Starting off with our quick pop segment, the breaking news and headlines we can't ignore. And of course, as you all saw at the top of the show, this shooting in D.C. 2 brave West Virginia National Guardsmen deployed to assist with President Trump's urgent mission to secure our borders and deport criminal illegals were gunned down in a targeted attack just blocks from the White House. These heroes, part of the reinforcements called in to back up ICE amid the largest deportation operation in history, are now fighting for their lives in critical condition after being ambushed by a lone gunman. Who was this guy? Well, the suspect, they've just broke out this news, has been identified as an Afghan national, according to NBC News. 29-year-old Afghan national who came here to the U.S. under Biden's Operation Allies Welcome Program, folks. I'm already mad. I'm trying to keep myself controlled because it's Thanksgiving Eve. The program was launched to resettle Afghans around the time of the disastrous withdrawal, law enforcement sources told the Post. His name is Ramanullah Lakhanwal, was allegedly lying in wait before he rounded the corner near the Farragut West Metro Station in Northwest DC around 2:15 p.m., then opened fire, striking a female guard in the chest before shooting her in the head, according to law enforcement sources. This guy, again, who entered the country under Operation Allies Welcome and resettled in Bellingham, Washington, then allegedly fired at and struck the second guard until a third guard stationed nearby rushed to the area and took him down, the sources said. The two armed soldiers who were patrolling the streets when the suspect launched his rampage were taken to a nearby hospital in critical condition. Shelley, I want to get your first thoughts before we go through this news coverage.
Get these mullers out, okay? In fact, don't bring them here. Every culture cannot be assimilated to Western culture. Certainly not. Call me xenophobic, whatever you want. I don't give a F. Like our Governor Moore said, I don't give a F. Some people just cannot be assimilated from non-Western to Western cultures. This is a horrendous. I wish that Guardsman was able to literally put him out of his misery, or at least put the rest of us out of the would-be misery that he's going to cause more harm to. I wish he had done that on Thanksgiving Eve. Steve, yes, I see you. I'm flirting with you tonight. And Momo, I'm with you as well. Get them out, get him out, put him out his misery first, and then ship him back in a box.
Yeah, Nicole, what are your first response to this tragic news?
You know, we should not allow war-aged, fighting-age men into this nation. They just don't assimilate well. They just don't, especially from, it's so hard because you want to be philanthropic. You want to continue to allow people to be here, but when they're targeting the best of us, when they're targeting American heroes, we have got to do something differently. This rhetoric that came from those 6 senators, don't follow orders and all this other foolishness, they don't seem to understand how much weight their words carry. The Bible tells us life and death lies in the power of your tongue. Why do you continue to put this spotlight on violence and death, and then everybody acts surprised when there's violence? Yeah. What's going to happen, and I hate to say it, KJ, what's going to end up happening is eventually people are going to start fighting back, and then we're really going to have a problem. We've got to get a hold of this now.
Well, we're in it. We have a major problem, folks, and it extends. And they didn't stop. The left did not stop after this today. Right after this occurred, we got Al Sharpton out here pinning it on Trump, of course, because why take responsibility when you can stoke more division? Take a look. This is clip 14.
Matter of 2 people fighting for their lives, guardsmen, that this president put there. And as I said, I was one that was very vocal against that. But I'm not going to belittle the fact that their lives are at stake to get into a back and forth with the president. I can say that if I'm a member of their families, I don't want to hear what he's saying about Honduras right now. I want to pray that these 2 guardsmen who were ordered there and who we're being told by the mayor was ambushed, make it through. And all of this about sending in 500 people, what does that have to do with where we are now? I think that we've got to, those of us that have been opposed to the president's policy, show that we're not going to morally match him by going down to a level of insensitivity. There are two people fighting for their lives on Thanksgiving Eve. And it just seems ironic to me that people that pardoned people assaulting police officers are now talking about how they're going to uphold and look up to the people in the building. People in that building were beat January 6th. So
What? Shelly, what is he talking about?
The original mofo shit starter. Okay, that's what he is, the original. So he knows how to play the game and talk the original talk. This jackass here, he's blaming President Trump. Of course, they intertwine January 6th in there some kind of way. I don't know. But what about all of these police, not just today, the guardsmen, but police and other law enforcement who have been assaulted, terrorized, if you will, through neighborhoods throughout the United States, thanks to Antifa, BLM. That's not on his radar. You know, he doesn't see that. He only takes digs at President Trump. The person who is responsible for this is that Afghan mullah. That's what I'm calling him. This Afghan mullah who came here under this program. We opened our arms too much. We had too many programs, too much, what you said, Nicole, philanthropic endeavors, if you will, that wind up kicking us in the ass and getting guardsmen shot in their head. Okay, enough is enough. Send these people back. Put them in the non-Western pigsties where they come from, where they seem to enjoy, and let them stay there.
Yeah, Nicole. I mean, you heard what he's still flaming the flames of, you know, trying to put this on Trump, talking about the National Guard shouldn't have been there. What are your thoughts?
For him, everything is political, right? Everything comes back to politics. Look, this is not a strike against the Republicans. This is not a strike against conservative movements. This is an attack on an American hero, on an American soldier, on two American soldiers. And if there wasn't a third American warfighter there, he would probably still be shooting. At some point, these people on the left are going to have to pull their heads clean out of each other's asses and come and sit down at the table and put this nation first. Not what political points can I score? How many times do they have to be fined by the FCC? How many times is somebody going to be fired because they keep saying dumb things? Whatever happened to being a good American? When something happens to the best of us, everybody in this nation should pray. Everybody in this nation should be looking for answers. Why? Not pointing the finger saying, oh, you know, it's a Democrat, it's a Republican. This is an American soldier. This woman is an American soldier. And the other person who was shot, also American soldier. And the person who should be blamed for it, the person who should take the blunt of the blame is the Afghan dude who's laying on a gurney. Someone that, as Shelley said, we generously offered to come to our nation, who is an alleged ally. Now, I'm not going to draw any political conclusions from this. Maybe he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. We don't know. But what I do know is that hopefully he survives his gunshot wound because he was shot.
Right.
And I hope they throw his ass under Leavenworth. I hope they put him so deep and dank in some prison cell somewhere that even his great-grandchildren won't repeat his name.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I got, I have 8 fingers and 2 thumbs, and I'm pointing all of them at the Democrats. And let me tell you why. These guardsmen, they try to portray as occupiers. I mean, they have been slamming these National Guardsmen since President Trump put them out there. Well, why did he put these guardsmen out there? They are patriots cleaning up the mess of Biden and Kamala, the mess they left behind, the open borders, the fentanyl floods, and the gang violence spilling into our streets. Yet this guy, Al Sharpton, and the rest of these nutty leftists push this rhetoric and have turned all of these law enforcement agents into targets. How many more heroes have to bleed before the media admits their role in this insanity? Speaking of them, what about this seditious 6? Those Democrat senators and reps like Alyssa Slockin, who just literally days ago spewed lies on national TV claiming our guardsmen would start randomly shooting innocent Americans. Take a look here. This is clip 8.
Look at these videos coming out of places like Chicago. It makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians. It is a very, very stressful situation for these law enforcement and for the communities on the ground. So it was basically a warning to say, like, if you're asked to do something, particularly against American citizens.
Look, well, I mean, Shelley, you were in the military. You are a veteran. What do you think about this stuff?
What I think is she's saying a bunch of foolishness-ish, okay? Let me tell you why. What she really said was, oh, guardsmen, American soldiers, military, they don't have self-control. What she's really saying is that they're imbeciles and they're ignorant and they need to be sort of made into robots. That's what she's really saying. She's trying to cast it and make it seem like, oh, she's being protective, but she's really thumbing her nose at our military and our guardsmen. That's really what she's doing on the slide. Remember, the left always thinks that the right, people on the right, or certainly people who are in the middle, that we can't think for ourselves. They tend to think that we need them to direct us, mind, body, and soul. At least Slockin and those other, whatever you want to call them, congressmen or whomever they are, I blame them at least for stirring this pot, so to speak, because it seems to me, certainly this year, maybe in the last few years, that almost give it some time when the left starts using language like Nazi and fascist and all kinds of things, occupiers, whatever. It seems to be boiling that pot until it boils over. And then what happens when it does boil over? All of a sudden, they're not a part of it. It's always the other side. They want to blame us for what they do or what they contribute to. Now, ultimately, that Mueller is responsible for his actions, but the left will never, they still don't take responsibility for any part. They will never look in the mirror and say, oh, maybe I could have done this instead of doing this. They will never do that. They will always point the fingers back. Those 8 fingers, KJ, they're going to point them at us. That's what they do, and that's what they're going to continue to do.
Well, I want to ask you, Nicole, why are they doing this? Okay, because I don't think they believe what they're saying. I think this is rhetoric. But why are they doing this? And we understand this is all part of free speech, but it's irresponsible. Can you talk more about that, Nicole?
Of course it's irresponsible, but the midterms are quickly approaching and they have nothing to sell. The hottest Democrat in the nation is a fuzzy head, Democrat socialist who was just elected mayor of New York City. So he thinks he's akin to the president of the United States. They have nothing to offer, absolutely zero to offer. So they have to do things to kind of break up the news cycle of consistent stories about Trump and the changing of this culture. So every now and again, they do something. They do something so that their media has something to focus on other than what the president is doing, what the administration is doing. So from their perspective, this was a really good chance for them to get in and not really say much, but say a lot at the same time. But here's my point. Where were these 6 when people were forced to have the COVID vaccine or lose your job, regardless of how long you've been in the military? Where were you then? You'd let a dude in a dress in and pay for his health care. But someone who says, you know what, I'm good over here. If I catch COVID, I'll let my body fight it off, had to give up their entire military career. You want to talk about something that's illegal? You want to talk about something that's not right? They gloss over that. Here's the thing with Slockin. She too aspires, and I'm not mad at her. Everybody in politics aspires to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Everybody wants to be president. Again, politics, not for the faint of heart. These are people who are full of hubris. They think, they hung and set the moon and everybody should dance to their music. So they get together and make up some of the most dramatic bullshit, like a no kings rally. The United States has never had a king. We don't even like the kings. Okay. We don't do that. But they they plant this seed of fear, and then they pour the water of their rhetoric and this 24-hour news cycle on the mainstream media over top of their constituents' head. And their constituents are crazed people. These ultra leftists are crazy as a bedbug. When I tell you that these people have serious, serious issues with the United States of America, we're seeing it play out. Who shoots a soldier in Washington, D.C., 2 blocks from the White House? Who does that?
Yeah.
And why?
Yeah. Well, let's see what we have in our super chats, Nicole. Maybe we have some responses there. Thank you, Kung Fu CJ, for your $2 super chat and for being a member of our Freedom Seekers Club. And this is Thanksgiving. You're the first super chat for Thanksgiving Eve. So he says, dang, I'm late. No, you're not. What did you miss? You are just coming in right on time. We have another super chat from Kung Fu CJ again. Hello, Pat family. For your $5 super chat. Make sure you like and subscribe and share. That's right, everybody. Hit those buttons right in that on that page. Like, share, and subscribe. We need your support. We thank you for your support. It's Thanksgiving, so hey, be grateful. Give us a gift of hitting those buttons.
All right, absolutely. And folks, I mean, this has been going on. I mean, that was an older clip of these 6 Democrats who were blaming, who were demonizing the National Guard. But this is not new. Here, they didn't waste any time. This is just out today. MSNBC hacks wasted no time in blaming ICE again, as enforcing our laws is the real crime here. Take a look. This is clip 11.
You know, there's so much controversy happening in the United States right now with ICE, who are also wearing uniforms and wearing masks. And so there's, you don't know, people walking around with uniforms in an American city. There are some Americans that might object to that. And so apparently this shooting has happened.
Yeah, Nicole, I mean, once again, they're demonizing ICE. These people are out here just doing their jobs.
Mm-hmm. And listen, standing on a law that jackasses like that passed.
Right.
If you do not like the law and you are a legislator, you have the right, the duty, and the power to change it. What you don't do is you don't get on TV and make it harder for people who are carrying out their mission to do what they're paid to do. Here's a fact. Thank God Congress is only 2 years. Thank God the House is only for 2 years. If you are a card-carrying Democrat, for whatever reason, some people feel like they were born Democrat, they come from a Democrat family, a Democrat background, there is no way that you can look at the chaos and confusion, the death and destruction that that party has caused in this country and continue to vote that way. They are not like us. They are not like us. They don't value what we value. The truth of the matter is they would sell their souls to win another election. Truth is, they would definitely sell yours to win another election. It has gotten to a point with these people that all they see is power. They no longer see human. They no longer see America as a nation. It's their way or no way at all. And unfortunately, from people from the right, very conservative voices, what do? We hire more security. We're about to go to DC to see, or to the White House to see the Christmas trees, to tour the Capitol, right? To go to the White House Christmas party. That is the metro stop that people who metro into town, that's the metro stop to go to the White House. It's just down the street. So what are we supposed to not go now?
That's what they want.
No. They're sending more troops. Sec War already said, we're not going to back down. We're sending 500 more, and we're going to clean this place up, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
You know, we got to do something. We can't be held hostage in our homes by these lunatics. We just cannot.
Yeah, that guy. He's one. I don't believe that he believes what he said, KJ. If you notice, he couldn't really. I don't think he could kind of reconcile it in his mind, between his mind and his words. But again, what he's trying to do is paint the narrative without actually saying it, that people in uniforms that are walking the street, law enforcement, he's really likening them to Nazis. That's what he's doing. He doesn't want to come out and say that directly, at least not right away. But this is what they're doing. They are setting the backdrop, if you will, and they want to find some way to justify innocent people, our military guardsmen, no less, law enforcement at large, to be shot and killed. This is what they really want. It's okay for them to have protection, right? Whether it's uniformed or private, it's okay for them to do all of that. But the rest of us are supposed to be asked out from these mullahs, these jihadists, all these people who want to harm, kill, and murder and destroy. They don't care about the rest of us. It's only their ilk that are supposed to be protected. These people they're not just leftists, they are statists, they are dangerous.
Well, this type of talk is causing all types of violence against law enforcement all over the country. Take a look at this next clip. This is clip 12.
Of a chilling plot to attack ICE, potentially with explosive rounds. The man on the right is John Bennett. He served as an assistant principal at a high school in Virginia Beach. DHS says the case is indicative of the more than 1,100% increase in assaults against ICE agents. Joining us now is ICE Director Todd Lyons. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Rather disturbing details that we are learning about that.
Yeah, Sandra, thanks for having me. It's really scary because, unfortunately, that's the day-to-day lives now of every men and women in ICE, whether it's a special agent, deportation officer, or our trial attorneys. We're constantly under a barrage of attacks. And unfortunately, a lot of these attacks are being driven by some crazy rhetoric that are coming out of a lot of elected officials. And it's really sad because now you have, plots like this. You have ramming incidents up more than 800%. The doxing is just getting unreal, and it's really scary times right now. Just for for us being out there doing our law enforcement mission every day.
As far as the numbers are concerned, the death threats against ICE officers, the numbers that we're looking at here are staggering, 8,000% increase. So, how do you combat this, and how are ICE officers able to carry out their jobs, or are you going to get to a point where there's such a dip in morale you start to lose some?
8,000% up in death threats. And the crazy thing about this is it's not even just the Democrats that are pushing this rhetoric, but they are doing this 24/7. They are on these news cycles, this 24-hour news cycle, and many of the mainstream media in the pundits in the mainstream media, the reporters are not even pushing back against this.
Yes.
So you have them doing it. These Democrats out here, these leftists out here pushing this rhetoric, and then the mainstream media is not questioning them. They're not pushing back on it, and then it's pushed out in the mainstream, in the social media, 24/7. We've got a real issue here. Shelley, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Notice that those two guys they said they were teachers, or at least one of them was a teacher. These people and I'm saying these people in the sense of their mind to harm, to destroy, to murder, to literally turn America into, I'm calling it a totalitarian state, if you will. These people are everywhere. Every industry, every part of life. It's almost like 1984. You don't know who was really a part of the party in Oceana versus not. You don't know if they're a rebel or if they're part of the party. You don't know if this person is sane or if this person wants to do me harm. So in a sense, there's this sense of national, I'm going to call it paranoia, maybe national scrutiny, whatever you want. But this is what they want. This is a part of a totalitarian society. They don't want America to be free. They don't want Americans to be independent, critical thinkers. This is not what they want. They want us to be cogs, and they're going to do it come hell or high water, even if it means releasing all of these, I'm talking about mullahs and anybody else who want to do us harm to keep the fear cycle going. I'm telling you, these people are dangerous.
Yeah. Nicole, how do we push back against this? What do we do about this? It's clear they have control over the media, the leftist biased media. The Democrats are, it's almost like they've got a bullhorn, and they can have clear reign to push this rhetoric. So what are we supposed to do as conservatives?
First of all, they need to start locking people's asses up. When you get in the way of a federal officer doing their work, they put the handcuffs on you, they take you into detention, they take your name and information, and you get let go. That's got to stop. If they start locking people up for real, then you won't have soccer moms out here. I know we showed the clip a couple of weeks ago saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry," when the police, and they let her go. She could be sorry inside that cell. She can't be sorry sitting at home with her kid plotting the next move with her friends. This is absolute bullshit. We're going to have to stand on the letter of the law, start locking people up. Conservatives, this is what we have to do. When we see this kind of crazy, out of the way rhetoric, most of us just roll our eyes and change the channel. We're going to have to start pushing back. This is why channels like any of the shows on Metro Conservative Media is so important, because it gives you the other side of the story that you're actually inundated with 24 hours a day. Think about the people who are stuck in the airport watching CNN right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. They've saturated. And we're going to have to push really hard to make sure that at least one or two conservative voices get into these spaces like Scott Jennings and kind of push back harder than Scott probably does, because he's very gentlemanly. But people are going to have to push back a little bit harder so that the people that they're indoctrinating have something else in that space. This is why having those two lily-livered women on the View doesn't help. I don't care if they check the R box. Neither one of them got a conservative bone in their body.
Nope.
Neither one of them. But they'll say, oh, it's bipartisan because we've got these two twits on. These two twits don't know anything about being conservative. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. So we're going to have to fight back the best way we know how. But the first thing we could start doing is by prosecuting these people and not letting them go with a warning, a slap on the wrist, and I promise I'm going to do better next time.
All right. We have some super chatters in the chat box here. Kung Fu CJ again, thank you for another $5 super chat. He says politicians forgot they are civil servants, not leaders. And we need to keep reminding them of that. Not only do we need to remind them, we need to take that corrective action that needs to be applied as well. Thank you for your super chat, Kung Fu. We have Josh. Josh, happy Thanksgiving. Josh with your $19.99 super.
Uh-oh, did Shelly freeze?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
I hope everyone.
There she is.
Oh, Shelly, can you read Josh's again? You froze.
Josh says, happy Thanksgiving, Pop and Politics fam. I hope everyone has a great day with family and friends. Enjoy a wonderful dinner and recommend Pop and Politics to your intelligent loved ones. Thank you, Josh. Happy Thanksgiving. And
Happy Thanksgiving, Josh.
3 equals 1. Thank you for being a member of our Freedom Seekers Club and for your $1 super sticker. Thank you very much. And we have the S-Files, our lady here, the S-Files. I'm sorry, okay, I'm sorry. We have another one here. Papa Dodd 1. Thank you for your $5 super chat. Says, ladies, they just announced that the shooter was an undocumented illegal Afghan alien who came in under Biden's term in office. Make it make sense. Yeah, absolutely. Again, those programs we have, all these open doors and open arm programs, we need to cut those off. And here's the S-Files. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for your $2 super chat, S-Files. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for your donations, and keep them coming. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Don't forget, do it now.
All right. Yes, indeed. Folks, we got an action-packed show for you tonight. We got so much to cover. This breaking news that just occurred today, this tragic news, was not actually on our lineup, but we have so much to get to. I know we are actually supposed to be in somebody's kitchen or cleaning up for tomorrow, but we wanted to spend time with you all tonight. So thank you so much for sharing your Thanksgiving Eve with us tonight too. We appreciate it. Again, as you all come in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience, and subscribe. More than ever, we need to build a community of conservatives, of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. We have an awesome Thanksgiving special at the end of before we close out tonight that kind of talks about that freedom. Again, folks, as you guys come in, hit that like button. So I want to get through this quick pop news for you guys. So these are breaking news and headlines that we're not going to dig into tonight, but at least wanted to highlight them. So hot off the presses, I believe it was yesterday, Ukraine has agreed to President Trump's peace deal that would end the war with Russia. Nicole, what are your first thoughts on that?
I hope it works. One, the Ukraine is heavy at this point. They're very expensive and they're poorly behaved. We can't get a full accounting of all the money that we've already spent and where the weapons are going and what they've done with them. So I'm kind of at the end of my rope with them. Hopefully it works. Hopefully this is something that Putin is willing to sit down at the table and negotiate, and we can call this thing a wrap.
All right. Other news out breaking: the state of Georgia moved to drop all remaining charges in the 2020 election interference case against President Trump and his co-defendants. We followed this case closely. Shelly, what are your first thoughts about this?
It's about time. Signed, sealed, delivered. Put a nail in that coffin and let's keep it moving. President Trump deserves that. Again, thankfully, I'm glad it's done. Fannie and whatever the guy's name, they're off on La La Land, and President Trump has a job to do, and that's what he needs to keep doing.
All right, folks. Again, those are just some headlines, breaking news that we wanted to do a quick pop in and bring it to you all. All right, so now to the next segment that we're really going to dig in, talking about Democrats, how they're constantly virtue signaling instead of providing effective solutions for real problems facing Americans. So we need to talk about the real epidemic in Democrat-run cities, and that is blue pandering politics. So these Democrats will do anything to avoid addressing actual problems that impact real Americans. Now, as we mentioned earlier, crime is exploding. The border was wide open. Families were having trouble affording groceries. Businesses are fleeing these cities. And what do Democrats do? They make hair discrimination illegal. In Pennsylvania yesterday, the governor of Pennsylvania held a press conference and detailing his latest priority is fixing hair discrimination. So it's not crime or the economy. He's telling us that hair discrimination is now the civil rights battle of our time. Take a look at this nonsense. This is clip one.
Today, when I sign the Crown Act into law, that will be the next step in making good on that promise of bringing about real freedom for all Pennsylvanians.
This public policy campaign is my brainchild in a nationwide effort I have led since 2018, determining it was necessary to change the law to help redress the long-standing and problematic practice of racial discrimination in the form of hair discrimination. I subsequently developed the national legislative, social impact, and coalition building strategies for this movement because for too long, a myopic notion of professionalism and Eurocentric standards of beauty have perpetuated racial inequity and exclusion. Too many Black children have been suspended and missed what should be valuable instruction time because their hair, worn in ways that are aligned with their racial identity, have been deemed a violation of school rules.
I am a child growing up in the Virgin Islands with natural hair. Natural hair has been braids, twists, locks all my life. That's all I know. As you know, I still have locks. But wearing my natural hair has been all that I know. But as I opened my salon and spoke to different clients that wear braids, that's telling me, Lorraine, I have to take these braids out. I have a job interview. Or Lorraine, I have to cut my locks down because my job says too long. And the recent one was my client who says, Lorraine, they talking about me. I have to do something. I have to cut my locks because of my job. You know, they saying it's unprofessional to have locks. And I'm like, wow.
Human Relations Commission. The same would happen for our bill because now hair discrimination is part of the protected class of race, which is in the PA Human Relations Act. So they could call their statewide Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission, and there are also satellite offices all across the state.
So that thing in the blue glasses needed to be discriminated against. I'm discriminating against that suit and those
That's the one I'm
ugly
gonna
glasses.
Yes, the suit.
Okay.
The jacket.
This is where I have no issue with discrimination because some people need to be discriminated against. She should not be in anybody's job, in anybody's cubicle, in anybody's office with that ugly suit on. Okay, before I get you ladies involved in this, first, let me say something. I have worn my hair in a bush. I have worn my hair loose. I wish we should have brought photos of ourselves through the years. I've had long hair. My hair is, I've had long, loose hair. I've had short bush. I've had long dreads. I just recently cut my hair. My hair used to be at all the way down my back with dreadlocks. Okay. I have never experienced hair discrimination. This is so embarrassing. This is so embarrassing. Maybe I'm making too much of it. Shelly, what are your thoughts?
So first of all, the one lady with the red, the one who spoke first. Now I was listening to her. Now she speaks very well.
Her hair looks pretty.
Her hair looked cute. She's eloquent. She had very good diction and all kinds of subject matter and subject verb agreement. She said that this is basically the highlight of her career. Are you kidding me? You have a PhD. You have a PhD, and this is the highlight of your education and your career. How embarrassing! This is the low-hanging fruit. Like you, KJ, I've never been fired or put out of school for my hair, no matter what style it was in. Never, and not at all. And let me say something to these ladies. Black children are not being suspended for their hair. What about the ones who are suspended for their behavior? That wasn't even on the top of your list, and you're an educated woman. That doesn't matter. It only matters that their hair. I think I did a quick Google search. Maybe about 10 or fewer students nationwide, and that's over a number of years, not even 1 year. Maybe they were suspended because of their hair or uniform, or it was out of uniform, whatever. 10. I'll give her 10 because I didn't find 10. I'll give 10. But this is the pinnacle of their career. These people are the types of people that keep Black people in the dustbins of history, if you will. They keep them at the lowest totem pole, the lowest socioeconomic status, while they keep going up the ladder and using things like this to elevate themselves so they can look and sound like they're really doing something worthwhile for the Black people they claim to want to help. Again, it's a bunch of BS.
Yeah, I mean, Nicole, is this classic Democrat distraction?
This is the politics of respectability. This is what this is. And you're going to see more and more of it because Democrats use this as quote unquote a field leveler. I mean, you work in a restaurant, your dreads come to your ass, your boss tells you to put your hair up, get a haircut, or put a hairnet on, and now you can call Pennsylvania Human Resources on your boss, right? It makes no sense. What's even scarier about this, because I give a shit about these people in their hair. It is whatever. It's on top of your head, and if you look in the mirror and you feel like you look good, then God bless. What I'm looking at is Josh Shapiro, who was overlooked for vice president position of the United States. He probably would have gave Kamala a better shot than that Looney Tune Walls did, but he was overlooked as vice president because he's a Jew. And the Democrats have a Michigan problem. They've got a Dearborn problem. I'm wondering if this is Josh trying to take a step to the left a bit, because pretty much a moderate guy, but it looks like he's taken a big step to the left for Pennsylvania to waste one dime of taxpayer money on this foolishness. One dime to have this big rollout about hair, and not one person there had any kind of alternative hair. Now, the woman who had all of her dreads piled up on top of her head and held on with a clip, it depends on what job she was applying for. Employers have many reasons that they can hire you, many reasons that they can fire you. Here in Maryland, we're an at-will state. You part your hair on the wrong side, I don't like it, I can let you go. Pennsylvania's a little different. The Commonwealth is a little bit different. But this was political theater. It was a whole miss. But again, we're going to see this from Democrats, the politics of respectability. Get used to that word, to that term, because that's what they're pushing now.
Well, they're pushing crap. But again, this is Foolishness, right? But this is not new. This is what we're talking about, and I want to make this clear. And folks, this is what we want to talk about in this segment. It's not just about hair. It's this idea of distraction. So instead of tackling violent crime, failing schools, and economic decline, Democrats create symbolic victories. This is performance politics. Solve the thing no one asked for and ignore things everyone is begging for. This is what they're doing. It's race baiting disguised as civil rights. It's the politics of emotional theater, not governance. Okay. And so we have to call this out. And I mean, I don't know if it's people just aren't aware or if they're just falling for the emotionalism behind all of this. You know, I know, as we mentioned here before, Black women love their hair. You know, it can be a conversation that we have amongst one another, you know, because I mean, Black women can wear some crazy hairstyles. Okay. I mean, that's it. We wear some, and I'm willing to admit that back in the 90s in high school, when, you know, I used to wear the weave and have my hair was pulled up in a ponytail, and I used to have my bang really big, and my hair, you should see my high school graduation picture. My hair was like this high off my head. Okay. You know, I used to wear the crazy hairstyles as well. Now, as I matured and, you know, got into, you know, the corporate world, of course, I'm going to become a little more conservative with my hairstyles and things. But that's just being a professional. You know, this is not an issue. It really isn't.
It really isn't. Look, I've never worn weaves. I had weave in my hair twice, and I was going on a cruise. I took it out within one day of getting it because I didn't like the way it felt on my hair. Yeah, I wore the styles. We wore the French rolls and the tilted bobs and the layer cuts and all kinds of stuff. Loved it. My own hair. Always had my own hair. Thankfully. But this is not about hair. It's not. They are catering to the lowest denominator, and it's all about making themselves or elevate themselves to whatever positions of power and prestige. It has nothing to do with the people that they claim this is going to benefit. Not one thing. How is you know, quote unquote, the Crown Act going to get those people in the Black community the jobs they need? What is that going to do with? Not one damn thing. It's not going to do that. And by the time, if somebody's going to hire you, and depending on the arena, the industry, most people are going to kind of adapt to that culture, that work culture, so to speak. Okay. And I'll even say this. Even in today's economy, there are a lot of industries where, I mean, it's like, okay, you might be able to, quote unquote, maybe get away with a little bit of color, whatever the case may be, right? A little bit of a touch of this, or you might be able to depend. So it's not an issue, like you said. This is about these people elevating themselves to power and prestige, again, off of the back sweat and tears of the people they claim to want to help. No different, just a different issue, but the same tactic. Let's go to our super chatters here and see what they have to say on this Thanksgiving Eve 2025. The last Thanksgiving, coming up on the end of 2025 already. Less than a month, right, Nicole?
Wow, yeah.
We have Liberty Girl here, Liberty Girl 912, with your $5 super chat. Thank you. She says, "Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. May God bless you all." Thank you, and we ask the same for you. Tijuana Border Jumper is back with us. Thank you for your $10 super chat. He says, "Good evening, ladies and all patriots. Mrs. Nicole, KJ, and Shelly E. with a lot of roses there. Thank you. Under the current circumstances, have a blessed Thanksgiving. Love to us all, even the liberals." Thank you, Tijuana. We have Thomas Duvalis. Thank you for being a member of our Freedom Seekers for 13 months. Thank you, Thomas. Wow. Love your work, ladies, and best wishes from your American fan in Japan. Thank you, Arigato, Thomas. Have a nice Thanksgiving. And Kung Fu is back with us. Kung Fu CJ, $2 super chat again. Thank you. He says, "This is a hot mess. We are talking about hair." Yes. Yep, you're exactly right. And we have Butterfly Mama. Thank you for your $10 super chat. Says, "Good grief. What about us white girls? I don't know. What about you all? What y'all gonna do?" My employee handbook has rules against certain hair and fingernail colors. We can't have anything outlandish. I am a nurse. This is a hygiene and dignity policy. Yep.
Yes. Absolutely. But that's one of the things that was interesting. You didn't see Josh Shapiro standing there with one Polish person, one Jewish person, one any other person. Now, we've seen Hispanic girls who have their hair so long they look like Crystal Gale, it's down to their knees and that kind of thing. Then we see some white people who wear their hair pink, blue, green, short and choppy, or long and wild. And the people who have their hair kind of pulled out in the spikes, kind of like a crown around their head. Hair is not just a thing that Black women love. All people love their hair. People cry when they go bald, right? Except for some men.
But is it? But Nicole, are other people falling for this crap?
No, it's only us. We always fall for the low-hanging fruit. It is what we do, and we do that well. This is a part of the culture war. When I tell you that the president and the administration is changing the culture, this is the way that they push back, because it's easy. It's easy to say, okay, well, write a bill that says you can wear your hair any way you want to. But when you come to apply for my job, and my job dictates at my medical practice that you look a certain way, that's part of what I'm going to take into consideration. Fight me, Josh Shapiro. Fight me. But I'm not going to have somebody taking care of people who is unkempt, dirty fingernails, filthy hair. It doesn't fit my business model. It doesn't.
Right. We got one more super chat before we go on. It says from Bernie. Thank you, Bernie, for your $5 super chat. He says, happy Thanksgiving to you, beautiful ladies. Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving to you, Bernie.
Yes. Oh, we got
another one, Kung Fu. Thank you again, Kung Fu, for your $2 super chat. Says, KJ, you are right on point. Thank you, Kung Fu. Yes.
Well, folks, I mean, again, we stand on this line of the Democrats pushing this pandering and virtue signaling. And here we have in Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson says we can't jail our way out of crime, and implies it's racist to lock up Black criminals. Okay, that's not leadership. That's pandering to feelings while people are getting robbed in Chicago, carjacked, beaten, and terrorized in their own damn neighborhoods. This is what he's talking about. Take a look here. This is clip 2.
We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that, and we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to drive violence down.
All the crime that took place last night, the night before, the woman with the burning, they burned the woman. To be talking about that now, they burned this beautiful woman riding in a train. A man was arrested 72 times. 72 times, think of that. And they'll let him out again. The liberal judges will let him out again. But we're ready to go. You know, we've been moving toward Chicago. We have a governor that thinks it's wonderful that only like 7 people were killed this week. But we are moving toward doing, and we're going to, if crime gets, it's horrible what's happening in Chicago. We could make Chicago a safe city in a period of 4 weeks. In a period of 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, it would be totally safe. And the people of Chicago want us to go there. And if you look at the crime that's taken place in Chicago in the last 2 weeks, just take a look. It's on the front page of every newspaper. It's out of control. The mayor is incompetent, and the governor is a big fat slob. He ought to invite us in, say, please make Chicago safe. We're going to lose a great city if we don't do it quickly. Make Chicago, we'll do the same thing as we did in D.C., the same thing as we did everywhere we've gone.
President Trump is telling the truth, but they demonize President Trump and they put up on a pedestal people like Mayor Brandon Johnson, our mayor here in Baltimore City, Brandon Scott, over in California. I mean, the list goes on. But folks, this is why we're highlighting this tonight. This is the Democrat playbook. You know, they'd rather let residents get victimized then enforce the law. Okay, this is it, plain and simple. What are your thoughts on this, Nicole?
You know, they have this weird fascination, this weird romance with crime and poverty and lack. It is such a demonic spirit that has kind of taken over the ultra left. You know, when you think about this man saying that locking up criminals is unholy
and racist, he said it was racist.
Well, we ain't even gonna go to the racist thing because we know he's race baiting, and so do they. But when you say it's unholy, even in the Bible, there's penalty for crime.
Right.
So where is it unholy? Is it unholy because your poll numbers are dropping? Is that what makes it unholy? Is it unholy because you just had a pregnant mother violently assaulted by elementary school children in your city? And the best you could do is say, well, we're going to hold them accountable. Well, what the hell does that mean? Because they jumped another child the next day. Where does that accountability come from? So the problems are much bigger, the social problems we have to solve. But what we're seeing is these are politicians politicking. Like everybody else on the Democrat side, they're all jockeying for position. Who's going to be the top dog? Who's going to be the new hot thing? And they're saying things that are more and more outlandish every time somebody sticks a microphone in their face. Every single time. At some point, these people are going to have to get right, and before it's too late, because this party is circling the drain. Do you hear me? Floating around like a turd in a toilet. They are in terrible shape. If this keeps up, I'm going to be surprised if we don't clean sweep them come the midterms.
Well, I hope so. I hope so, because Shelley, this soft on crime ideology is destroying the very communities Democrats claim to represent. But the crazy thing about it is, this is them. This is their playbook. This is their agenda. And it hasn't changed now for decades. Actually, it's gotten worse. They're doubling down on this moral cowardice. But are people waking up to it?
I would like to think so. Many more people are. Not enough, not soon enough. And let me say this. I think Brandon Johnson, again, give I guess a shout out, if you will. I don't know if that's the right word, to Baltimore, because our former prosecutor, Marilyn Mosby, and our current mayor, Brandon Scott, they uttered the same words. We can't jail ourselves out of crime, or however, whatever the saying goes. They utter the same thing. So again, Baltimore on the forefront of passing along cultural and political foolishness that only get people murdered and put away under the ground, 6 feet under, things like that. Interestingly enough, again, these policies, let me repeat my alliteration. Progressive policies pulverize the people they purport to protect. That's what they do. That's what they do every time. Brandon Johnson, he doesn't give one iota about the victims. He failed to mention that although these Black people are in jail, well, they were perpetrators of crime. And guess who most of their victims were? They look just like them. So these Black people that you claim to care about, no, many of your Black perpetrators have Black victims, like that mom, okay, who was beating her and her children. So Brandon Johnson is he's one of the worst types, I think, because he stands there with, he's like an Al Sharpton kind of, with the race and the, the prison, all these terms that are so, they're catchy, they're emotional, but they get people murdered. They get people 6 feet under well before their time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when Black mayors refuse to enforce the law, Black neighborhoods suffer the highest crime rates. And that is what these policies do. These pandering policies hurt the Black community the most. But I'll tell you one Black man that's said enough, Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds is running for governor of Florida. He's been a vocal critic of these policies, and he's out today talking about how this shooting in DC is due to Democrat rhetoric. And I want to bring him up on here so you guys can see exactly what he said. Take a look.
What I'm thinking is a couple of things. First, these members of Congress with their stupid ass video, they're putting our military men and women in harm's way. That's number one. Number two, now that we're finding out that this shooter is an Afghani national that came in during in the year 2021. Well, gee, what happened in 2021? Oh, yes, it was the botched withdrawal of Afghanistan from Joe Biden, one of the very worst geopolitical and military decisions by the former president of the United States. We knew at the time that there were Afghan nationals who were coming into the United States that were not being properly vetted. We were being told, just get people to the United States as quickly as possible. And then the Biden team would do the necessary work of vetting everybody. And even at that time, none of us believed that on Capitol Hill. So now, 4 years later, we have an Afghan national in the streets of Washington, D.C., who decided to shoot to kill. Let's be clear, shoot to kill 2 of our National Guardsmen from the state of West Virginia. This is disgusting. And it says Democrat fingerprints all over it. And look, I understand Rob O'Neill. I thank him for his service. He did more than most Americans ever have done for this nation. But I'm going to be very clear. This is Democrat fingerprints all over it. Because in 2021, Joe Biden, Alyssa Slotkin, Mark Kelly, and the rest of those Democrats, they had no problem, whether it was Afghanis coming in recklessly without proper vetting, or people from 184 different countries coming into the United States at will with no checks, no desire to vet, and doing nothing to secure this nation. And now 2 of our National Guardsmen are fighting for their life as a result.
All right. Now, let me say this. If you are a Democrat, I generally don't like to speak in identity politics as far as race, but I know Democrats and the left, they vote by color. Okay. They vote by color. And so I'm letting you know, if you're the type that you only vote by color, you need to vote for him. You need to vote for that black man, Byron Donalds. If you have to only vote for colored people, black people, if that's how you live your life, vote for that man, because he actually has your best interest at heart. He has your best interest and also American interests at heart, okay? Not these idiot mayors that push these identity politics, black this, black that, and then don't want to secure our neighborhoods, our communities, don't want economic development in our communities. They want government run, government God. This man has your best interest at heart. You dummies. Ugh. This is what I'm talking about. Nicole, you've worked with Byron. You're very good friends. What did you think of what he just said?
Listen, Byron's a stand-up kind of guy. And one of the things I think is most remarkable about him is that he didn't have the easiest life. Right? Like some of these Black Democrats, they have been elitist since they were children, private schools, the best of everything. So they're not necessarily who they purport to be when you see them, shilling for the camera.
Right.
It is remarkable, using Jasmine Crockett as an example, to take a look at her upbringing and all of the opportunities and privileges that she was afforded, to see her clowning for the camera now. It really is a waste of her parents' money. They wasted a bunch of money on that education. They really and truly did. Here's Byron, self-made guy, happily married, great children. He absolutely adores the state of Florida. We couldn't get him to move if he wanted to, right?
Wait a minute, Nicole. Wait a minute. Look at this. This is what I'm talking about. Look at this comment.
Where?
I wish Byron had an African-American wife, though. Seems shady to me. What does that have to do? You got these Democrats married to blue Black women, and their policies are killing us. What are you talking about? Tiggy Cam? Are you serious? Are you really serious?
Unfortunately,
Seems shady to me.
You know what's so funny is that what they don't understand is some of the biggest Democrat, popular Democrat Congress people are married to white folks. Love is love, folks. Listen, Erica Donalds is tremendous. She's a tremendous human being. Pink, purple, polka dot. Listen, if this woman had a furry back and a mustache, he would have still married her. They are 2 peas in the pod. Peanut butter and jelly, ebony and ivory, call it what you will, but call it successful is who it is. This woman, Erica, started charter school because her children weren't learning appropriately in public school. So she built schools for that type of child who learns that type of way. She's an accountant by trade. She's not an educator. This is what we talk about when we say couples that get together and work in the community, live in the community, and build the community. The perfect person to run for governor. Unlike here in Maryland, where we imported a governor. We imported somebody who really didn't have the bona fides to run the state. So we're upside down another couple, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 billion. And it's just going to get worse because, as he says, he doesn't give an F on national television, and it shows. But here's Byron, stand-up guy. Again, he loves Florida, and he doesn't just love conservative Florida. He loves all of Florida. One of his first campaign videos where there were some alphabet mafia people, probably the best way to put that, who were trying to protest his announcement. He said, listen, I'm going to be your governor too. So we need to find some common ground. She said, you'll never be my governor. He said, watch and wait. I got you. He's way ahead in the polls. Byron is going to do great things for the state of Florida. And I look forward to him coming back to national politics, maybe taking a seat somewhere in the vicinity of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
You know what? Those people, Nicole, that was nice and everything. And KJ, you're right. Those people, like I think it was Tiggy's Cam. It's funny because you can have mayors like our mayor, Brandon Scott. Marilyn Mosby was married to a black man. Wes Moore is married to a black woman. But these people don't do anything. They want to just do this to the black community and the communities at large because all they want to do is enrich themselves. Al Sharpton, as far as I don't know if he still is married. He was married to a black woman. But, what do they do? So their argument is just so specious. It's only race-based, or I like to say ethnic-based, because there's only one race, the human race. They only go by skin color. It's BS because they can't really name these figurative or people in their mind, these powerful black couples that do so much for the black community. Most of them get the hell out as soon as they can.
Yeah. So you think of Bob Johnson and Sylvia, right? I mean, the super power couple that were married for a very long time. It doesn't really matter that they were black people, but they had a tremendous impact on politics and the communities at large. So skin color is no definer of how you impact your community. It really is.
Nope. Not at all. Not at all. And if you feel that you are only voting for people because of who they're married to, that they're married to a black person, or and these people that are married to black people, their policies are trash, then you are what we have been talking about. You idolize race. You have a very big problem. You have an issue, and you're sheep. You are sheep because this is how you are being played. The Democrat Party is using you. They use black pain as a political shield and then offer symbolic nonsense like hair protections instead of tackling root causes. Okay, so you go on and keep voting for these people because based off of how kinky the woman that they're married to hair is, how black her skin is. You keep on doing that, and our communities will continue to fail. All right. Because these Democrats aren't solving anything. They're managing emotions, not realities. And this is exactly why American cities are collapsing under their leadership. And they've been doing it for decades. Take a look at this. This is clip 3.
Corporations came forward and said, we're going to do diversity. We're going to do this because race needs to be dealt with. And for Donald Trump to be able to cancel a commitment they made is an outright affront to the black community, brown community, LGBTQ, gay community, and women that they committed to. So that is why we will stand with those that stand with us. Costco's immediate...
This is a celebration of is that everyday people in the community stood up and they wanted a say in what was happening in their own backyard. It's not the community's fault that the moment they said, hey, what are the details of this? Where are the benefits coming from? Can we secure more? They came to the negotiating table and Amazon said, we're not going to negotiate anything, we're just going to leave.
What's up, guys? This is McDonald's first automated restaurant with no workers, and I'm going to show you how it works.
So when you walk in, there's no one working at the counter, and you order whatever you want on the screen. Sometimes they have these robots going around bringing your food to you, and if you want to go through the drive-thru, you just order ahead online. Then just pull up to this special lane in the drive-thru, and this is how they deliver the food to you. So what do you guys think? Do you like this new system or no?
Yeah, that's what the Democrats bring to you. That was what we were talking. So you saw Al Sharpton out there protesting DEI. We know DEI it didn't really even assist black people. It assisted white women. Okay, but he's out here protesting for DEI. You got AOC. She ran her squeaky mouth so much. The Amazon's decided not to put a location in her district, lost thousands of jobs. Now you see him putting up McDonald's, and then the same ones, Democrats advocating for higher minimum wage. Now you see these robots everywhere. Now you see the robots everywhere.
Absolutely.
You have to check your own self out. $25 an hour. I'm not paying you $25 an hour to check out stuff when I can just put the register there and have people check out their own selves.
Absolutely.
You know, and I guarantee you, I'm willing to bet you money that the ice cream machine works at the robot McDonald's.
Absolutely. I did some quick math, right? I did some quick math on just an Amazon job, just based off of I guess today's rates, but I'm just going to use that for illustrative purposes. $20 an hour for a 40-hour a work week is about $800 a week, right? That's $3,200 a month, about $40,000 a year. So from 2019 to 2025, right? You would have had someone working, making about 40, let's say 40 to 45,000, because you probably want to add in inflation, all that stuff. 40 to 45,000 in an entry-level job. Amazon pays some benefits, some types of insurance and things like that. I don't know how much, but look how much market capital has been lost from that community in New York. 25,000. So multiply 25,000 times about 40,000 and look at the impact that was lost thanks to that woman, because Amazon just wasn't good enough for her, or it wasn't good enough for her. So therefore it wasn't good enough for at least 25,000 people in her community.
You know,
that's what matters. That's what really matters.
They're all waiting for what's his name? Zamdammit to give them free things. There's a great reel going around Instagram right now of two guys going into stores and just taking things. Oh, yeah. And the shopkeeper's going, wait, what you doing? Oh no, the new mayor said everything's free. Wow. Right? These groceries are free. And they're like, no, it ain't. I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for that. Oh yeah, you voted for it. And it's coming. It is coming.
Wow. We have another super chatter here. Let's see. Is it Southern Charm? Southern Charm, go dogs. Thank you for your $2 super chat. Says we are playing tug of war against each other. Yes. Thank you for that super chat. And then Josh is back. Thank you, Josh, for your $20 super chat. He says one of the greatest virtues of this channel is that you have a totally diverse community of independent, critical thinkers. Love is love, and that includes our love of country, which gives us the freedom to love who we love. Okay, to love who we love. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Josh. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. If we didn't say it enough, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving, folks. Well, we are not done yet. As you all come in, please hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience, and we appreciate the support. If you're new to this channel, what we do is we Derek Chauvin the Democrats, folks. And if you don't know what that means, that is PNP vocabulary, pop and politics vocabulary. It means we keep our knees on their necks. Okay, so we Derek Chauvin these Democrats, and so we just went through talking about how their agenda is pandering. They don't have any real solutions. And then this next segment is about how many on the left are full-blown racists. Okay, take a look at this next clip. It's a professor I think it's in the Ivy League, talking about their pandemic. There's a pandemic of whiteness. This is clip 4.
We posit that there is a whiteness pandemic behind the racism pandemic, and that this begins in the family system where young children are socialized into the culture of whiteness within white families. Our first recommendation is to remember that the whiteness pandemic is a pandemic. If you were born and raised in the United States, especially in a white family, then you've been raised in the pandemic, and you can play a role in halting and reversing this pandemic. We have two specific recommendations to that end. The first is for white parents to invest time in their own racial identity development through joining an organization like Showing Up for Racial Justice or your local BLM chapter.
What? Oh my gosh. That was a professor at the University of Minnesota. I mean, before we get into this, I want to say I never knew Minnesota had so many nuts. I mean, I was familiar with Minnesota from 90210. Remember the show 90210? That's where Brenda and her brother were originally from. Yeah, but I thought it was all white, and now we got all these nutty black people popping up everywhere. Shelley, what are your thoughts?
Every time I see people like that, I think of UK Day, because you always say like they either got like short hair, or they got a nose earring or something every time. And I noticed she had an accent. So again, here we go again. Someone who is not American originally, not US certainly, and they're coming in here trying to change our culture. This pandemic of whiteness. So what do you call it if you're born into a black family? Is it a pandemic of blackness or whatever that's supposed to be? And I mean, look, the way the black culture is going, you might want to check out white culture. I mean, you might want to get on that pandemic. I mean, I don't know. You just might want to do that. These people, and it's always an academic, because most of this bullshit starts in the academic arena and it filters down through the culture. So when you start hearing people talk about, these are the ecosystem and the pandemics, these social they're repeating what they've learned in academia at most colleges. And it's not just the Ivy League colleges. Unfortunately, we can't just isolate it there anymore. But this is all learned vocabulary, learned concepts that absolutely mean nothing to your everyday lives. It doesn't mean anything except that you probably will turn out to be, again, a racist, a violent criminal, maybe. You're going anti-American, certainly. That's your best guarantee of what you're going to turn out to be.
Yeah. Nicole, I mean, what do you think of what? I mean, she said a pandemic of whiteness.
It's just ridiculous. And, I shudder to think how much money the American taxpayer put out for her education. It makes me absolutely crazy to think how much money we've paid for that PhD for her to come up with the pandemic of whiteness. This is absolute insanity. And there are probably, maybe another 50,000 of her teaching young, impressionable kids their first time away from home. They're on these college campuses and they just want to fit in. So everybody doubles down on this idiocy. Then they grow up into adults who don't want to work, who vote for people like Zam Dammit, because they think, oh, I'll just get everything free because the white man owes me something. This victimhood card, this hanging on to this sense of survivorship that she's not even a part of. She's not a part of this. It makes me crazy that we open up our arms to this nation and we embrace the world. There's not one other country on the face of this globe that doesn't have somebody here in the United States. We take them in, we feed them, clothe them, love them up, and apparently educate them very well, only for them to turn around and bite the hand that quite literally fed them. Because from whiteness, they're going to jump from whiteness right into America, right? For them, it's synonymous. So here we are funding our own demise, and we have got to do better. We have got to do better than this. I'm embarrassed. I really am.
Yeah, and the thing, again, I got to go back to Minnesota. What the hell is going on in Minnesota? I'm a 90s girl. I grew up in the 90s, and I was watching 90210, Beverly Hills 90210. Brandon and Brenda Walsh were the Minnesota Twins, and it was Lily White. I want you guys to sound off in the chat. Let me know. Do you guys remember this? Beverly Hills 90210. Remember, it was all white. Now we have all these people, these nutty leftists in Minnesota. Where is it? Where are these people coming from? And why are they even?
I
Black
think they left
people don't even
California.
like cold. It's cold there, isn't it?
No, I think they were resettled. You know, refugees get resettled in places where the United States doesn't have a lot of population. Right? So they resettle at a place and say, "Oh, well, you want to go to college? Absolutely, we'll pay for you to go to college. We want our educated folk." And then what you end up is an educated asshole. This is what she is. She's an educated dummy.
And I bet you she had a grant for that, some kind of grant.
I'm telling you,
kind of research grant, not just for her research, but even to go to school there, because a lot of these academic again, it's another grift, a racket. They need to get people to go into these programs or come to here to go to school. We'll pay for your school. We'll give you all these grants and subsidies, i.e., taxpayer money, and this is what we get.
Well, we know this can be done then, because this is what Biden tried to do, countrywide. He tried to do what they did in Minnesota, where they resettled all these people, and now they've totally changed the demographic and the culture in Minnesota. Because I'm telling y'all, I remember in the 90s, this was not like this.
Okay.
And so now you have Biden 2025, he was trying to do it to the whole country. Thank God for President Trump. Folks, these people are wacko, okay? And again, we're talking about how the left have become full-blown racist. Here in this next clip is Joy Reid with, I believe her last name is Welch. I can't remember the lady's first name. Talking about J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk. Take a look. This is clip 5.
Motivates them. So they can't have the successor to MAGA be the guy with the brown Hindu wife. They're also Christian nationalists. That ain't gonna work. That's why he's throwing his wife under the bus, poor Usha, or she's in on it, right?
And
she's
playing slap and tickle with Erica Kirk's the weirdest shit I've ever seen. Yeah, she's like in her Tammy Faye era.
Okay, holding on the back of his head and rubbing on his head.
Some weird shit,
baby. Don't do that to Jason. I'm gonna start thinking something's going on. Why you holding the back of his head? I'm like, you're not doing that right thing. You're supposed to be a widow. You in leather pants?
Yeah,
that's not widow wear.
Could you imagine
wouldn't it be the most perfect fairy tale, MAGA fairy tale?
Yeah.
If he finally sees the light that he needs a white queen instead of this brown Hindu. I mean, I'm not saying that's happening,
right?
Or maybe that Usha's not even in on it. Maybe she's whatever. But that's one entrant. Another entrant is frankly Donald Trump Jr. If he can, keep it together.
That's terrible. Let me tell y'all something. Those three are three of the ugliest women I have seen in a long time. In a long time. They are three ugly women, and they're miserable. And let me tell you, they're ugly not just on the outside, but on the inside. This is what I'm talking about. They are ugly on the outside and the inside. And you can tell ugly comes in all shades, sizes, and colors. You got a fat one, you got two skinny ones, and they black and white, all blondes, and they're all ugly.
Joy, I have to say, Joy looks better than I think she looks better now than she has way in the past. I give her that credit. This is another facet of I'm going to say, I don't know if you call it Trump derangement syndrome, but it's certainly some kind of derangement syndrome. These people are obsessed with this. I mean, they can't, what is widow wear? Because the woman wore leather pants. I mean, and not only that, they think they're funny. They're not funny. I mean, they sound very foolish. They do sound miserable. I mean, it's just, it's weird. All I can say is it's weird. It's just weird. And they are, I'll just go with your word, KJ. They are miserable.
And Nicole, to create such an obscene scenario.
It is who they are. Listen, when I tell you that they're trying to outdo each other in the level of depravity, they are. You got Botox Betty sitting there talking about, oh, isn't that just strange? No, not Botox. It's not strange. The fact that your skin is still on your skull is a miracle of science. You got that thing pulled so tight, if you sneeze, you might lose an eyeball. Honey, hush. You don't have a right to talk about what Erica Kirk puts on her legs. If she wants to wear leather pants, God knows she can afford to. She can wear what she'd like to wear. Remember that feminist stuff that you guys were so riled up about? What happened to that? What happened to the girl power that you could work with men and be friends with the man without sleeping with the man? Wasn't that what y'all stood on? When you were out there saying, well, we have girl power. She's showing you what girl power looks like, right? Here's a grown woman doing grown woman things in this circle of power that you will never, ever be in. Where's the applause? Is it because she's a conservative that makes her weird? Is it because she does not dabble in Botox that makes her strange for you? When you say ugly people, I want to say demonic. And Erica Kirk has really wrangled their chains on that side of the fence, and they are showing out. I wish I could say that she's funny. She's not funny. She hasn't been funny ever. Can I say that they're pathetic? Absolutely. Can I say that they're probably miserable? Yeah, but I mean, she's making some money so she can dry her eyes with a couple of stacks of $100 bills. Make no mistake. But apparently money doesn't buy happiness. It just buys Botox.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen people who have a lot of money and they are miserable. Money does not make you happy. I've seen it. Yeah. It does not. Now, I mean, everybody wants to live comfortably, but it will not guarantee happiness. Believe me, I can tell you that.
If you're miserable before money, you'll probably be miserable afterwards.
Absolutely. Well, let me tell you, I'd like to try. So go ahead.
I want to try. I mean, I want to try. Yeah, I'm not miserable before.
One. Right. I could be the one, to be the exception to that rule. Go ahead and send me cash, drop a couple mil, and I'm going to show you how happy girls do with happy money.
Well, we have a super chat here. Paul, he's helping us to get that achieve that dream. Hi, Paul. Thank you for your $5 super chat. He says, do you think DC will get better once Bowser leaves next year? We'll see.
I don't know. Because let me say this, just on that. She's actually she's decent. Now that's tough on the left. When you compare her to, again, Chicago, Brandon Johnson, Baltimore, Brandon Scott, even the mayor of LA. Mm-hmm. This one, Bowser, does seem at least like she's trying to work with President Trump on some issues.
Yeah, but she really doesn't.
Remember, she was against the city council, was trying to push forward some really radical woke.
Yeah, she's a little more moderate
agenda, and she was pushing back against it. So
she's a little bit more moderate. She's a money person. She's always been a development person. A lot of people in the district were kind of angry with her at some of the developments that happened and that kind of thing. But she has financially pushed the district forward. The difference between the District of Columbia and all these other blue cities that you mentioned is that Congress holds their purse strings. Mm-hmm. So you can fight all you want. If you intend to pay your staff, which didn't happen for maybe 3 or 4 months because Congress refused to allocate money to them, which Congress can do, it's a different dynamic. Although I will say that she is very much a reasonable person.
She's much more moderate.
Democrats used to be before their far left people took it over. What Democrats used to be, they disagree on policy, but everybody wants to keep everything moving securely forward. The bill that you were talking about is KJ, when they were talking about crime in DC and what the punishments would be for certain crimes. And they were saying, well, no cash bail and people should be able to get out and this and this and this and this. Very progressive, very liberal policies. And she was like, we got to live here. She's got a baby. We got.
I think Muriel Bowser is a little more moderate when you compare her to the Brandon Johnsons and Brandon Scott.
Absolutely.
I think what I do think about her, I think that she wants to fit in with that class or that party so much that you can move her a little bit more, even if she didn't really want to move because she wants to fit in. I think that's her Achilles heel right there, just wanting to fit in.
But she said that she's not running again. She's not going to seek another term.
Exactly, right.
I truly think that she'll probably, go to a great development firm, make her money and mind her business. I think she's kind of over it at this point with politics. Like a lot of moderate Democrats, they no longer fit the mold. They no longer fit the mold. So
Well, let's see. Well, Paul is still helping us so that we can achieve that happiness. Thanks, Paul, again for your $20 super chat. He says, I appreciate you ladies' work. Your ladies' work. Wait a minute, you ladies' work. You work so much. Maryland needs you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Paul. And we have another one from Kung Fu CJ. Another $2 super chat. Thank you, Kung Fu. He says, DC is no longer Chocolate City. It makes me cry.
Yeah, it's more like a swirl cone now. Definitely
Okay.
more like a swirl cone.
All right, folks. So again, we are talking about how the left has become full-blown racist. All right, and we're staying along those lines. Want to take you next to this viral clip of a lawyer talking about how she loves to overcharge white people. She's a woke lawyer, and she's saying it out loud. This is clip 6. Take a look.
I love to overcharge white people and organizations and do pro bono work for black orgs. And that's just me being very blunt. I will give them ridiculous rates, and then I'll have like a nonprofit or a black org or somebody doing some work, and they'll be like, I've only got this much money. And I'm like, keep it. A white person just cut me a check. Let's do this for free. But honestly, like I try to balance like a lot of that pro bono work and being able to get paid work from folks who do have the deep pockets. And so it's like this interesting balance where I'm almost like funding the things I'm passionate about. I'm working with Viola's House, which is a black woman-owned organization that has maternity homes for young mothers. And, they're going to kick off a new maternity home in Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm going to get to be a part of that and opening that home. And they're not paying me anything because they don't need to.
Amen. You can't take the low-hanging fruit, especially for black people, because, it's a lot more things out here that we can make money from. It's a lot more brands that can put money in our pockets, but they just send you the stuff like, okay, see what you're gonna take, and it's like you gonna have your little cousin out here addicted to gambling because it's gamified and it made you 15. You see what I'm saying?
Wow. I mean, so she's pretty much telling you guys. I mean, if I was a white person, I wouldn't do any business with her anymore. And she's actually, you heard what she said. I didn't know this until tonight. She looks like she's here in Baltimore. Nicole, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
Listen, if she's here, the Maryland Bar Association's got work to do. So there is some ethical requirement, believe it or not. Lawyers do have an ethical reasoning that they have to follow, and overcharging someone so that you don't charge someone else. It ain't it. That's not how this is supposed to work. So she's outing herself, and the internet does what the internet does. Again, another person, quote unquote, of color who's spouting all this stuff, but goes home to her white husband. It makes you think that at some point, are people going to start seeing through this? What is it going to take for people to see the reality that's in front of them? Is it going to be, okay, she came on the show, she said what she said, and went home to her white husband. Now, what do I do with the information that she gave me? You've got to stop this race baiting. It doesn't really work, especially when the internet gives what the internet gives, which is receipts. And I'm sure it didn't take them maybe 10, 15 minutes to figure this puzzle out. The same thing with Don Lemon. He's like, white men, white men, white men. And honey, aren't you married to a white man? It makes no sense. And people say, well, that's different. Love is love. Well, what happened to the love for somebody else who might be white? We have to stop the race baiting. It sets us back. It sets back our culture, black and white. It sets the nation back.
Yeah, I mean, all right, Shelly, I need you to help me understand this, because many of them on the left do this, where they spout all this racist, discriminatory, nasty things about white people. And then their significant others are white people. Make this make sense. What is going on?
I'm going to quote the great LJ89040. He's cucked. That's what it is. These people, I'm now more convinced that when these white people who marry these particularly black women that talk like this and act like this, I think they do it out of some kind of sense of white guilt in their mind. That's what I think they're doing. I think they feel like, oh, you know, I feel bad for my history, my white privilege, and you know, we had slaves in our history somewhere 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 generations ago, and so now they are simps, they are cucks. That's what they're doing. But if you look at it on the other hand, she might be the one that's getting effed. Because he might be thinking from a twisted perspective. Well, I'm still gonna go ahead and F me a black woman too.
Yep.
I don't know which way it goes, but I got another black woman. I'm gonna go ahead and F. I'm trying to stop cursing y'all for the new year, so I got to put it into practice soon. But I think this is it's this craziness going on, because there's no way in the world that somebody in there saying it to a sane person when you come home and you say, oh, well, you said such and such. I mean, well, how does that translate, you know, to us? Or does it? How do you, it doesn't make sense. It can't be anybody saying he's either cucked or he's just in it for the fuck. That's what I'm going to say. I had to get it out.
I agree with you, Shelley. The blacker she is, the more he love it. Please believe me. And I think to a high regard for her, the whiter he is, the more she loves it. It may just be some kind of, you know, racial kink that they're into, but you know, in 2025, you can't sit there and talk shit about white people when you're married to a white man and don't expect somebody to drop the receipts. Come on now.
Right. Right. It's weird. It's so bizarre. But this is what the left is. They're bizarre. There's no rhyme or reason to their agenda, to the way they work. The only thing we know is they use everything they can to pander. They have no solutions, but if they can use you or emotionalize something to get your vote or to get you to do something, this is what they are going to do. And it will make no sense, but if they can make it make sense for you, then that's what they're going to do. So folks, again, as you come in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience, and subscribe. We have a goal to hit 250,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We can do it. But we need your help. Yes. So please hit that like button and subscribe. All right. So, you know, as we mentioned, this is Thanksgiving Eve, folks. We are here with you all. We should have on aprons and our hair pinned up and in that kitchen, cooking that turkey and the mashed potatoes and the sweet potatoes and all that. But we have decided to be here with you all because we're forming a community, a family of like-minded people. But we couldn't let this night go without talking about Thanksgiving. Okay. And wishing you guys a happy Thanksgiving. And so as we celebrate Thanksgiving, we're going to take a moment to reflect on something much bigger than turkey, football, or even family gatherings. We are going to go back to the foundation of who we are as Americans. Long before 1776, long before the Pilgrims ever stepped foot on Plymouth Rock, the seeds of liberty were already planted with the Magna Carta. That document, signed in 1215, declared for the first time that even kings must be bound by law. That power must have limits, that rights belong to the people. Take a look here. This is clip 9.
The rights of British subjects, established over centuries of English constitutional history, found their earliest expressions in 1215 with the adoption of Magna Carta. This lineage of liberties had been reinforced in the Petition of Rights in 1628 and the English Bill of Rights of 1689. The colonists, as proud Englishmen, were humbly requesting the same protections that they and their forebears had once enjoyed. Instead, for more than a decade, they endured a litany of humiliations and betrayals. Taxes imposed without representation, trade restricted by decree, soldiers quartered in civilian homes, and representative assemblies dissolved by royal order. What began as a dispute over a 3 pence per pound tax on tea had matured into a fundamental contest over the nature of political authority. Whereas the British monarchy asserted divine right and hereditary power, the colonists cast their lot with a radical new creed. Governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Still, there is a sentence, one sentence, that is echoed across continents and endured through centuries. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. That sentence did not simply declare American independence, it declared a revolution in human thought. At a time when birth alone often determined the extent of one's achievement, this sentence shattered assumptions that for too long had governed the old world. It declared that truth exists, that it is knowable, and that man, by virtue of being human, is endowed with inalienable rights. It declared that liberty is not dispensed at the mercy of the state, rather, it is given by God. The English Civil War of the 1640s had already tested the limits of royal power, culminating in parliamentary independence. Now, over a century hence, the symbolic scenes at Westminster, the knocking of Black Rod, the slamming of the Commons' doors, the King's florid address, were the mere remnants of a once mighty empire. The very ritual of barring Black Rod, once an assertion of defiance, echoed hollowly. Across the Atlantic, a much deeper form of defiance had taken root. The Declaration is a promise. More than that, it is a compass, pointing always toward the dignity of the human soul and the solemn duty of free citizens to guard against the rise of tyranny no matter what title it claims.
All right. Oh, wow. I know most people, when they're talking about Thanksgiving, they go to the pilgrims, but I thought this was very important. Important part of Thanksgiving. What do you think, Nicole?
I love it. First of all, I love Dr. Roberts. Let's do that. But I love the idea that we took something that started in England and made it better. We made it fit a nation that we felt was divine, God-given, and the rights therein. But when you think about Thanksgiving and bringing people together and making a community, there has to be standards, there has to be rules. And that first standard is that all men are created equal. The color of your skin, your sex, and for the people who are, leftist, your gender, which one or whichever combination you choose, all of that. And none of that separates us. It is a beautiful thing when you think about how we got to the point here in the United States. We took something that was good in England and perfected it here in the United States. And this is what holds us together as a nation. This is the basis of freedom.
Yeah. These people, the pioneers, the founders that started, this great experiment that we call America. They were so ahead of their time because the ideas that they had, the idea created the freest, most prosperous nation in human history. Shelley, what did you think of that exchange and how it connects us with Thanksgiving?
Oh, I thought that was very well done. I just want to go back a little bit further because the people, our founders, even the people who wrote the Magna Carta, certainly our Declaration of Independence, they went back to the beginning to help order their thinking, their writing, their message. Genesis 1:27. God created man in his image, male and female. He created them in his image. So it started there. So yes, as humans are wont to do, and every day, I know I do, every day we get off track. We get off track individually, family. From the beginning of Genesis, families were in disorder, right? So we get off track. Certainly societies, we get off track. Look at the children of Israel and the Hebrews in the Old Testament, and how even after they were freed from slavery, they wanted to go back. They got lost in the wilderness for however long, right? We are want to do that. But the beginning says that God made us in his image. Those were that was the inspiration, the call, if you will, for the founders writing the documents upon which we stand today, upon which we still believe in a which are still applicable. God has never taken away his freedom. Okay, so certainly our governments didn't give it to us, and therefore they can quote unquote take it away, but we won't let them. They can put all kinds of barriers and overreaching and all kinds of things up to make it seem that we can't attain it or that we can't have that freedom. But God said he made us in his image. He made us as individuals. He made us free to ultimately to honor him with our lives. And that's the foundation on which our country is built. And that's the foundation on which we must stand and to keep our country free for our children and our grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
Absolutely. I mean, the founders didn't invent rights, they recognized them. Mm-hmm. This is why the Constitution is a restraint on the government, not the people. But progressive ideology flips this upside down and treats government as the giver of rights. And that is, if not the biggest issue with the left, well, one of the biggest issues with the left. And this is why everything that they stems from them, from that idea that our rights come from government, it's just trash. It's just terrible. It leads us down a dark and lonely road. And until they figure that out, that's not what it is, the Democrat Party is doomed, in my opinion. It's doomed.
Agreed. Anything that separates people from God. Right. So when you look at the things that they believe in, abortion up to and past the birth of the child, that's not godly. There's no God in that. Anything that they can do to wedge themselves between things that are good and pure and things that are not, they do. There are some people who are Democrats who are, as we said before, moderate Democrats. I would refer to them as blue dogs. They have right-thinking ideas and that kind of thing, but for whatever reason, there's a hold on them that keeps them stuck in that party. Both parties have a fringe lunatic side. There's no discounting. Mm-hmm. There's fringe lunatics, enough to go around for every single party. However, most Americans stand on being a good American. And what we're seeing now is that the Democrats are walking further and further away from supporting the nation. And it's only about me. It's only about what I need, what I want, my power, my position. To hell with the people. When you hear them call Chuck Schumer Leader Schumer, no, his name is Chuck. Mm-hmm. That's who that is. That's Chuck. We're not going to put crowns, as they say, no kings. We're not going to put a crown on Chuck Schumer's head because he's been there since Jesus and Methuselah. We're not going to do that. But what we are going to say is he's an elected official. He works for us. We don't answer to him. He answers to us. If we taught civics in high school, middle school, elementary school, maybe our populace would be more educated on how that actually works. Unfortunately, they've decided not to teach. Absolutely not to teach civics. And there's a reason for that. Because an uneducated populace is easy to control. Easy to control. Being a good American is a great thing, which brings me to my favorite t-shirt, my absolute favorite t-shirt. Everybody, please, please, please. You only got 29 more days. Don't be on here Christmas Eve talking about how quick can we get it to you. And we're not driving those shirts over to your house. Make your purchases now. Go to our Dasher pages at the bottom, I think the bottom right-hand side of your screen if you're on your cell phone, and get your Unapologetically American t-shirt. We are about to start celebrating America's 250th birthday, and you want to be decked out in style. This is the shirt that you need to have. There are going to be so many events, so many parties, so many things that you can wear this shirt to. Get one for you, a spouse, your kids. Get yourself a trucker hat, your mother-in-law, even if she's not a Trump supporter, make her proud to be an American again. Being a proud American is easy, and this will let the world know who you are.
Wow. All right. Well, we have a few super chatters. KJ, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. We have a few super chatters here. Cancer Moonchild. Okay. Thank you for your $10 super chat. Says, happy Thanksgiving, ladies. I love your show and appreciate you. And we as well to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kung Fu CJ again. Thank you very much for your $2 super chat. And again, for being a member of our Freedom Seekers Club. He says, another foolish Democrat. Lord help us. Yes, thank you. We have a super chat from DJT. Thank you for your $20 super chat.
Wow, thank you.
That's very cool.
Kung Fu CJ again, another $2 super chat. He says, "Oh, about the Thanksgiving cooking, we want addresses so we can show up."
Oh,
Thank
you, Kung Fu. If you have any of my cooking, you won't want to leave.
Lord have mercy. Listen to her talk.
Let's see. We have 3 equals 1. Again, thank you for your $5 super chat and for being a member of our Freedom Seekers Club. Says, thanks for creating space to examine what's happening in our world beyond a typical socialist, godless mindset. Happy Thanksgiving, ladies. Smiles to the Poppin' Politics family. Thank you, and back at you.
Oh, thank you.
And Kung Fu CJ, you better be cooking. Kung Fu CJ, with thank you for your $5 super chat. He says the founders prayed in bad times, they fasted in very bad times, and they thank God when they were in good times. Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
And one more from Kung Fu CJ.
Oh,
says,
wow.
I know he says, does that come in compression?
Oh,
you got
the shirt.
Oh, the shirt. Okay, yes.
If it did, I'd send it to JB Pritzker to see if we can get him in it. It would make the president laugh.
One more thing I wanted to say about this topic, again, Thanksgiving, freedom, America's founding. One of the things now, Nicole, you mentioned like pro-life, and we talk about the big issues. But one of the things that is so insidious, how our freedom starts with your mind, really, because we can be enticed with so many things, free things from the government, and giving you this and giving you that, to the point where you think that, again, you get this entitlement mindset, and the next thing you know is you are dependent on whatever it is that's being given to you, quote unquote, for free. So your freedoms can be taken there, and it really starts in your mind. I think it's Romans 8:1. Having a transformed mind, and that's really where it starts. But there's time. You still have time. God's grace is still here.
Absolutely. Well, folks, 400 years ago, in late 1620, 102 pilgrims of the Mayflower landed in Plymouth Rock, which they considered the modern day promised land. They were inspired by the Bible in general and the Mosaic legacy in particular, which features a civic covenant, cohesive peoplehood, 12-tribe governance, and a shared vision. In 1621, the pilgrims celebrated the first Thanksgiving at Plymouth Rock. All right, so I'm gonna finish this out tonight. What are you talking about? What were you laughing?
I'm sorry. Real quick. I like Martin, and I was when you said Plymouth Rock, he had one of his shows. He said something about we ain't landing on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. But
yeah.
Oh, hey, I didn't watch Martin. All right.
That was so good. You didn't watch Martin?
No, everybody always asks me. I never got into Martin. I was into Living Single. I watched. Yeah. I never watched Martin though. All right. So, I want to ask you, ladies, before we close out, what should conservatives be thankful for in 2025? There's so many things that have happened. We started out on a sad note with the tragic murder of these National Guardsmen, but I want to end on a positive, uplifting. What are two things or examples that you are thankful for in 2025, that as far as being a conservative, like within the movement, that you feel like or you've seen happen and you're thankful for that? And folks in the chat, sound off as well. I mean, is it parents taking back school boards, Trump's approval climbing, pro-life victories? What is it that as a conservative, we should be thankful for in 2025 as we wind down this year? Oh my goodness, can you believe it? We're at the end of 2025. I want to start off with you, Nicole.
So I would say probably the thing that I think conservatives should be most thankful for is the return.
Two things. I'm sorry.
Well, the first thing.
Right.
The return of womanhood. For about 8 years, maybe even 10, there has been this absolute assault on womanhood.
Oh, yeah.
The thought that you could put on lipstick and a skirt and suddenly become a woman is not only unattractive and offensive, it's demeaning. It is demeaning to the God who made us different from men. Women and men are two wholly different creatures, And the return of womanhood, getting men out of our private spaces, making sure that there are just two genders, male and female. A return to what we see as normalcy is a huge thing to be thankful for. Because I don't want to be a birthing person or a chest feeder. I don't want to be any of those things. And that's where we were going as a culture.
That's
was
a good
really
one, Nicole.
where America was going. The second thing I think that conservatives should be very grateful for, and I know this is going to sound very Republican of me, but okay, let it rip. Honey, USAID gone. The spending of our money like a bunch of drunken sailors with our drunken international friends doing things to hurt our nation, and we're funding it. I don't want cross-dressers in Zimbabwe to have my tax dollars, trying on lip glosses. I don't want to fund that. This return to normalcy has so many different layers, but those are the two greatest things. American money should take care of American people first. We need a strong, strong military to protect us from people who want to do us harm. And we need to right the ship. Men are men, women are women. And it changes things when women treat men like men and men treat women like women. We might be able to actually right this nation if we continue on this path. I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, those are good ones. Those are really good ones, Nicole. Shelley, same question to you as a conservative. What are you thankful for? What are two things you're most thankful for in 2025?
Yeah, mine are a little bit broader, but I think they will apply even, to what Nicole said. I think conservatives in particular, we need to be thankful for courage and freedom. And I'll tell you why, what I mean by that. I think in the last year, certainly, I think we're seeing, and since Donald Trump was reelected, we're seeing more people across the country from all walks of life taking moments of courage to act, whether it's in their community, their family, and to just stand on in their own little sphere some kind of way, from the school board moms or the moms going to protest against the school, from the books being read in school, in the school libraries, to people even going out to maybe standing on the corner, if you want to call it street preaching, at the clinics, things like that. Those are little acts of courage. And I think those are important because they're not some big politician or someone with big names. These are just everyday people in their own little sphere. Maybe there are people at work taking a stand, like, from the bathrooms. No, I'm not going to share a bathroom with a man. And we might not ever hear about it, or we certainly don't hear about it on the news, all over social media, on 24/7 loop. But these are the moments. Takes just one, a spark here, a spark there, a spark everywhere. And then you have that, I don't know, this idea of this courage, people being courageous where they are with what they have. And I think in that sense, it also helps for us to appreciate the freedom that we had to do so, because many people have been afraid for so long. From COVID, maybe even before, but certainly from the scamdemic, they've been afraid, and now it's like they're coming out of their shell. Remember, in The Wiz, that's one of my favorite plays, The Wiz. At the end, when they took off the shell of the Wiz, the old clothes, it's like they are awakening, and it's a brand new day. They're taking off some of that old stuff and the fear and the being ashamed or whatever, and they are acting and doing whatever it is where they are with what they have. It may not make the news, but they're taking that step of courage, and they can do that because we still live in the land of the free. So that's my Thanksgiving story.
All right. Well, for me, two things that I'm most thankful for as a conservative this Thanksgiving are the growing pushback against woke madness and the rise of fearless Christian voices.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited about that. I truly believe the only real answer to Marxist ideology is the love of God through Jesus Christ and a deep love for this country. That kind of love doesn't divide us by race or identity. It unites us as children of God and grateful Americans. And so it's the same spirit that we were talking about earlier that carried the Pilgrims across the ocean and inspired the founders to declare that our rights come from God, not government. It's all right there, and we just gotta I don't know what the word is, bring back that spirit, that energy. We gotta focus, we gotta channel that same energy that the Pilgrims have. And so again, this Thanksgiving, I'm thankful to see that spirit rising again. I am so thankful for it because I see it. I see it, and with our comments, with the community we're building here, on Christian Conservative, the other channel I have, I see it all over with Just the Guys podcast and pushing back against communism. It's everywhere. And so we got to just continue to push back, speak up, stand up against it. And we're going to be okay. We are going to be okay. Yeah. All right. So that does it for us tonight. Kelly has some super chats. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we do. Thomas is back. Thank you, Thomas, for your 2,000, I think it's yen. Thank you for your 2,000 yen donation, your super chat, and we say happy Thanksgiving. Love you right back at you, Thomas. Happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving.
And we have Shrinkerella 75. Thank you for your $5 super chat. I was thinking Spinderella. Okay. But thank you. Younger generations need to learn to appreciate the U.S. Absolutely. Adults, do more to make being patriotic cool again. God and country. Thank you. Look, thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yep. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you for your super chats.
Yes. Thank you, guys. So we will be back on Monday. We'll be back on Monday night at 9 p.m. But in the meantime, check out tomorrow on Christian Conservative. We have a special Thanksgiving special for you guys. So please check that out. If you haven't done so already, subscribe. That's at KJ Christian Conservative, right there on YouTube. Going over there and subscribe. Also, Saturday, you can check out Just the Guys podcast. They're going to have a fiery show for you all. Baltimore city gentleman is going to be on with them. He's a socialist, or he champions socialist. Davon Love. I don't know if you guys are from Maryland and you heard of him, but he's a debater and he's a socialist, and he is going to have a discussion with the guys who are capitalists. So it's going to be socialism versus capitalism. It's going to be an awesome show. You do not want to miss that. That's on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. at Just the Guys podcast. All right. And then yesterday, if you missed it, you can check out the All American Talk Show. They were on at 7 p.m. yesterday, breaking down the latest in news and in politics. That's at All American Talk for bold conservative advocacy. You can check them out. All of these shows are right here on YouTube under the Metro Conservative Media platform. All right. Well, that does it for us tonight. When you see us again, we'll be unrecognizable. I'm going to be twice the size.
You know what, KJ?
Shelly's head is going to explode from all that macaroni and cheese. So yes.
I got to finish my cooking.
Oh yeah. Well, see, she's already behind. All right.
I'm already stuck. My collard greens have been in my crock pot all day simmering.
Oh, look, she's talking about crock pot collard greens. You know she's
That's
not
right. All day. I'm ready to do my sweet potatoes, and I'm ready to do my sauerkraut, and I'm already simmering.
All right. All right, good folks. Well, thank you all so much. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Gobble, gobble.